Welcome, everyone. We are live on this glorious morning, glorious Thursday. And the moon, she's as bright as ever, shining in the kitchen window. How lovely she is. Like, really. Just perfectly symmetrical. Almost like with a blue haze, a blue ring around her. Quite beautiful. But anyhow, I trust you all slept well. I could have slept a little longer, though. But here we are. Wrestle not against. Now, originally, there's this scripture that says, "For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against powers and principalities in high places." Okay? Let us actually put that into day-to-day living. Do you know what those powers and principalities are in high places? Well, if we're talking psychological, it would be the thoughts. We're not wrestling against flesh and blood. It's not. There's two sides to this morning. Hey, Big Mike, there's two sides to this morning. We wrestle not against. Okay? That's the first part. Wrestle not against. Don't fight against things, but choose the path of what it is you want to do instead. But how do I do that, Angela? How? I don't get it. What if, because we all work, right? Whether you work for someone or you work on your own, it doesn't matter. We interact with other people. When we're interacting with other people, they may say things you don't like, they may do things you don't like, they may treat you in a particular way. The way to not wrestle or fight against them is to check you. What do you want? How do you want this situation to go? That is where you start. Because the moment you begin to engage and say, "Oh my God, I can't stand them. Oh my God, I don't even like this anymore." Like when you start to do that, you are pushing against the thing that you don't like. You're not just pushing against what you don't like, you are giving it your attention. I will tell you this until you apply it. I'm not just telling it to you. I tell it to me first. You guys just happen to hear because you're here. But I tell it to me first. The things that you, as science would tell you, the thing you resist persist, right? But what does that actually mean? It means you're fighting against it. You're struggling against it. The more you fight, the tighter it gets. You watch a boa constrictor and tell me who's going to win that one. Because every time the animal exhales, it creates space. And then what happens when there's space? The boa tightens. It doesn't want space. So every time you exhale. So every time you give your attention to something, it will either take your life from you or give you life. Choose wisely what you give your attention to. This is why that first part, wrestle not against. We wrestle not against. Because the moment you fight against something, it has your attention. And once it has your attention, as I told you, it's quite like Lot's wife. It becomes a pillar of salt. What does that mean? It means because it has your attention, you're captivated by it. You're held captive by it. So whatever the situation is you're dealing with right now, recognize I didn't tell you to ignore it because you cannot ignore it. Oh, you can pretend it isn't there, but because you're pretending it isn't there, your attention is still on it. Imagine, if you will, I can't see you. I can't hear you. That's what we do when we pretend. We pretend we're not seeing it. We pretend we're not hearing that person we don't like. You're only pretending. Don't pretend. Not in this situation. Acknowledge it. When you acknowledge it, you're literally freeing yourself of it, because then you begin to comprehend. Seek the comprehension of a thing so that you, for lack of a better phrase, you take your own power back. So to apply it in real life, that thing you despise or the thing you love, whatever you put your attention on, remember that this is part of comprehension. Understanding why. When you understand why, you free yourself. When you understand why, you free yourself. When you recognize, wait, look at this person. They've got all of this. What do we say? Living in my mind rent free. So how do you stop thinking about them? You think about something else. Every time that person comes up, divert your mind elsewhere. Every time that thing comes up that you don't want to be in your mind, you divert your mind elsewhere. But you don't have to force your mind elsewhere. You put your mind elsewhere that you actually enjoy it being. I've told you, look at how easy things are. They tell you time flies when you're having fun. But when you have to do something you don't like, it appears as if time drags on. So if you really examine that scenario, you would understand, well, then I will do what I love. I will think of the thoughts. But remember, you're not just thinking thoughts. Those thoughts that you're thinking make you feel. And it is that feeling that will tell you and show you what you're thinking. So we're not wrestling against anything. Don't wrestle against anything, but caress that which you love. Caress, hold that which you enjoy. Well, the embrace is the same, is it not? Because in wrestling, somebody's holding somebody, somebody's grappling with something. But instead of, more of, that is what you want. Ponder this for a moment. Whether you are in the embrace of fighting or the embrace of loving, you are still in an embrace. But one of those embraces make you feel better. You see, when you're squeezed by a lover, it is different from being squeezed by the boa constrictor, the python, is it not? But you're still being squeezed. This is why the emotion and the feeling is important. I don't have to force you to be squeezed and caressed by your lover. I don't have to do that. Listen, you will voluntarily jump into those arms. Of course you will. Then that is the same way you view the thoughts and the mood, instead of, oh my God, why? Instead of that part, because you're being squeezed, right? Choose the thoughts and the mood that caress instead. If I say it to you this way, it'll make more sense. It will make you taste the things as you experience them. If you know what I'm saying, it will make you taste your experience before you engage in it. And it will show you that you're actually not fighting. When you recognize the argument in your head, you'll say, whoa, 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 I would rather whisper sweet nothings. And then you find the thought that matches sweet nothings. And you're not forced to do sweet nothings. You want to do sweet nothings. So you see, you don't wrestle against the frustration. You choose the caress instead. So that's the first part of we wrestle not against. But now you understand the second part. You're not arguing against George down the street. It appears to be because George has a face. But what you're coming up against is your own thoughts and moods and feelings. And then you encounter George's. Because why? As within, so without. So it's never a flesh and blood enemy, but it is your thought that will either be friend or foe. The thought is, it always starts within. It always starts within one's self. And if we pay attention to that, you'll see it on your own. You will see it. I'm just showing you what we do naturally and showing you how to change your life naturally without this big fuss and fanfare. You see, if you're in a position to say, well, I don't like my job, is it the job that you don't like, or perhaps the interactions you have at work? Well, either or, you can change both of those things. If you say, well, I don't like my job, acknowledge the fact that you don't like it. Okay, remember, you don't like it. You're being squeezed by the python or the boa constrictor, right? And you don't want that kind of squeeze. So what would you prefer? You would prefer the caress. So the caress would be, what kind of job would I like? What kind of career would I want? And you begin to go through your mind's eye, and you find the career that is ideal, that feels like a caress, instead of being squeezed by the boa. Because, all men must labor. We all gotta work. Work, but I digress. We all have to work. But don't do the work that feels like a python. Do the work that feels like a caress. That means you're going to have to take the time to say, what do I want to do? And when you see what it is you want to do, right? You see how it moves you and you feel that way? Yeah, it is that feeling that will open any door for you. The feeling that will open any door. You don't have to kick a door down, honey. You don't have to kick a door down. You just have to simply say, hello. It's me. That's what you got to say. Because Neville Goddard says you don't have to lift a finger to make it so. Because when you choose the mood, it is what does what it does. The mood is what brings about the expression of itself. So if you choose the python, man, you're going to have to fight every day. Of course. But if you choose the caress, now there'll be lots of hugs and kisses and squeezes all day. Which one do you want? It seems like I'm telling you something far-fetched. But if you sit and you contemplate it, is this woman for real? Is she crazy? What she mean I just gotta change my mood? Well, don't you change your mood every day, every moment of the day? If I say to you, Deadpool, Wolverine, well, somebody's mood is gonna change according to what I just said. Why would it change? Because it's based on what you like or what you don't like. That's where you begin. You at home in your bosom, begin there. And whatever you hold within yourself, be it the caress or the squeeze, you will have to experience it on the outside. Why? You experience it on the outside because it is the external that shows you who you say you are. Just like the echo if you're in the Grand Canyon. When the echo comes back, what does it say? It says what you said. So that's why your thoughts, your feelings, emotions, they're just one thing, by the way. They will echo back to you what you are doing. So internally, if you are struggling and fighting against, remind yourself, whoa, no, I don't want to fight you, because you're fighting yourself. So you don't want to fight you. You want to caress you. So that means what thought feels better to your body? Because it is the thing that you feel. Remember the lecture a couple nights ago when the union man was so distressed. because he was good. He was standing 10 toes down. And here was this judge telling him, if you don't call off your strike, I will throw you in jail. And he was like, try me. And the judge said, oh, yeah, you play stupid games, you're going to win stupid prizes. And he threw the union rep in jail. And the union rep was so angry. Now, who was he angry at? He couldn't have been angry at the judge. He was frustrated with his own self. But what did he say? He goes, oh, you should just drop dead. That's what he wished upon the judge. As within, so without. No sooner had he been carted off to jail, he was carted out of jail in a body bag. What did he shout out to the world? Die! That's what he shouted out to the world. But what was the echo? As within, so without. As he projected outward, he had to bear the fruit of the thing he planted. So you see, we do not wrestle against. You don't fight and wrestle against, because it just gets tighter. Change your mood, change your attitude. And when you change your attitude, you are changing what it is you're shouting out into the world. You see, because that is the law of gender at work. He sat there and contemplated and said, oh my God, I just wish you were just dead. That's what he said. And he didn't just say it because his words weren't idle, you understand. He meant every word he said. He meant every word he said. And because he meant it, he felt it, and he set things in motion. And because he set it in motion, he had to reap what he had sown. So instead of becoming angry at the quote unquote other person and wrestling against them, check yourself. This is not a thing of blaming oneself. You don't blame yourself. You just say acknowledge and examine. And then you decide, what would I prefer? It works exactly the same way for every situation. What would I prefer? You want a new car? Well, what do you want to feel like when you drive it? Because let me tell you something, Linda. You don't just, anybody who drives a Bentley, okay? Whether you are driven in the Bentley or you are driving the Bentley, there's a feeling that goes along with that. Oh, you doubt me? Anybody who films in their Bentley, they always are linked to the side so you can see the two B's on the back of their head or the B at the back of their head. Why is that? Because it feels good. So you don't just choose your car. You choose the car that matches the feeling and the mood that you want. So whether it is a job, whether it is a relationship, whether it is a home, it does not matter what the thing is that you want to acquire. It is the mood of the thing you actually want. Listen, you know how I feel about a piece of key lime pie. I'm not a fan of spending $15 for a slice, because I go to the restaurant and I get it from them. I don't feel very good about paying that amount of money for a slice of key lime pie. But let me tell you something, Linda. When I take that first spoonful into my mouth, what $15? I forget all about the $15, and all I do is revel in the feeling that I wanted to have. That creamy. Anyhow, I digress. You get the point. So it doesn't matter what it is. More money in the bank, a better relationship. Start with how you want to feel. You might not be able to put into words or name the thing that you want, but you will always be able to say, you know what? Feels good. You always know how you want to feel. So don't wrestle against what you don't want, but begin to caress that which you do want. So the next time you're out in the world, and today's Thursday, hey, when you are out there in the world, remember, what do I want to experience? Because now you're not fighting against anything, but you're deliberately choosing. I saw this video the other day with these ducklings. I was gonna say baby ducks. They're ducklings, yeah? Quack, quack. That was them. And they were trying to get up onto this little ledge because they were in the water. 3 of them did a running start. They went down with the current and paddled up and jumped. One little duckling said, "Oh yeah, I'ma go downstream." So instead of just going with the current and then doing a running start against the current, no, no, no. He flowed all the way down with the current. He saw the ledge and he used the current to boost himself to jump onto the ledge. Don't wrestle against the flow of things. Create the flow. Because we're always flowing. Remember the law of rhythm. There is an ebb and a flow. There is an ebb and there is a flow. When you're wrestling against something, you are paddling real hard. But once you decide what it is you want, you've just created your own flow. Oh dear. Yes, you have. Anyhow, I'm not going to keep y'all because you know how it is. Work, work, right? You know how it is. But remember what I said to you. And when you go out there into this world, if you say, "Oh my God, the world is so hard and challenging, life sucks," what are you doing? You're fighting against. What would make life feel better to you? I'm not asking you to end world hunger. I'm not asking you to to do world peace. Because in order to do all of those things, you can't be fighting against life. Oh dear. So, where do you want to be? What do you want to experience instead? Don't give me excuses and tell me, "I don't know nobody. I don't have that kind of money." I didn't ask you that. I just asked you, "Hey, baby, how you want to feel?" Mm. I just had an image pop into my head of a hooker. Oh my God, that is so bad. Because she leans into the window and she says to you, "Hey, baby, how you want to feel?" You want to feel $10? You want to feel $50? You want to feel $100? How you want to feel? You see, you might think that is crass, but what I'm showing you, everybody knows how they want to feel. Start there, and the feeling will pull you into action. You won't have to force your action. So, hey, baby, how you want to feel? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be crass, but really and truly, it just popped into my head as soon as I asked you that question. Right? But anyhow, let me get the bowl for you. And when you hear the bowl this morning, okay? When the bowl is playing this morning, how do you want to feel today? Well, choose it as you hear the bowl and fully immerse yourself in it. And then by the end of the day, how many times did you slide into that mood of how you decided to feel? And how long did you hold it for? How long did you keep it up? And then you will have noticed how beautiful of a day you had. It's just an observation. It is really just an observation. All right. It's okay. I'm shuffling things so I can get the bowl. A little bit. Well, he woke up early because, well, I woke him up because I was puttering around getting dressed. And he was like, "Okay, the light is bright. Okay, like, can we do something here?" So he was mad at me and he crowed. but now he's resting in the dark once more. So, hey baby, how you want to feel? Afternoon delight is in the house. Miss McQueen, Flo smiles, Big Mike. Hey, fanbase. Hilarion. Hello, Twitter. And oh, Queen Von Shay Darrow. Ah, my sweet Queen Von Shay. It is good to see you here on YouTube and Facebook. And for the others who've not made themselves known in the chat, I see you too. Thank you all for being here. Indeed. It is a beautiful day, and I truly appreciate each and every one of you who shows up every day. 'Cause I'm just basically teaching myself. I am, and you guys are gracious enough to share it with me. So, thank you for being here. I don't remember the lecture. But I know it will be lit, I'm sure. That's tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Fanbase. And you know I always end on Fanbase because, you know, it's my crew, right? Because it's social audio, and so it's just a different aspect of things. So if you're curious about Fanbase, come on over. On YouTube and Facebook, there's a link in my link tree that says, follow me on Fanbase. And you can do that. Yeah, especially if you're a content creator. But I digress. Come on over and check us out. But I'll see you tonight. Countdown initiated. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Much love to each and every one of you.